Is the media always going to be there, or are we going to eventually transcend even that physical necessity? For me to turn on the phone, to feel, to connect with what's going on. Is there a way to bypass that eventually? Where are we going? What maybe Dr. Laitman and also Dario, I want to hear like the picture of where the world is going to and the role of the Jews in it, with media, without media. Where is it
אני אגיד בקצרה.
I'll tell you briefly. We will be able to connect to the field where we all exist. It's not a field of radio waves or television frequencies, etc., but it's more, even subtler waves. We'll be able to connect to the field that is between us, that is actually among us, and we're all in it. We won't need these instruments that we have here. Yeah, these. We won't need them. Instead, we will be in mutual connection without dialing one another. We will be so connected that we won't need any modem, any medium in between us. Nothing. And then we will give to one another more clearly and will influence one another more clearly. We do it already, actually, but it's very crass right now. It's very remote, and it's not very powerful. Soon we will feel that we are connected through one field, and we influence one another, we receive from another, we give to each other, and this is the real media, the real communication that we will discover that it exists within nature. It's inside of nature. But for this, we have to have the mutual power of bestowal, of giving, and not the mutual force of reception. I have to want to give to others and not to receive from them only. This is what we are missing. We're missing the other force. Besides the minus, we also need the plus. And then we will be able to create this modulations and communication correctly. I really hope it'll happen. Well, I know it'll happen. The question is when. But this requires educating people. When I look at this last generation, the one that's growing now, it seems to me like they are drawn to it more and more. They feel that it needs to be, that it's not about phones anymore, that soon that the interest in dealing with it is kind of waning. They want more rapid connection, more immediate connection between people, even without words, just like that, from heart to heart, from feeling to feeling, where each understands the other openly, without any barriers along the way. This is the future communication. I really hope we'll get to it. And then, of course, we will have to be different. In order to communicate with others, I won't be able to hide myself behind text messages and other apps of communication. It won't help me. I'll be an open book to others. And then I will have to rise above my ego. Well, it'll be a better world.
Dario, what's your picture of the world as we move into it and the role of Jews in it?
Well, amen, amen, to what Rabbi Laitman said. Well, I do think I'm also optimistic. I think that this ultimately everything, realizing our place in the world, our relation to others, all this that we are talking about, it's a constant exercise of mindfulness, or becoming more mindful of what the laws of nature, of what is it, what is this about. And also, I think all spiritual traditions and even secular modern psychology have always worked towards helping people in this direction. We haven't yet succeeded fully in pushing everyone in that direction, but that's that's been since the dawn of time. It's like an essential human problem. And I think this situation has infused some more mindfulness into the world, because now you have to pay attention to things you were not paying attention before. You know, every time you realize, every time you go to the street, since there is a risk, like at the beginning, the reason why you pay attention is because there is a risk, there is a virus. But that means that every time you go to the world, you have to think, does it make sense that I do this? I am doing this just mindlessly, or it does, or it really makes sense? Am I exposing others? So that's a first shift of mindfulness. Even I remember, when now there are a bit more cars, but when the streets were so quiet, you realize the noise pollution that every car does. Every time you take out the car, you can think, when you realize that, it's like, am I going to put this pollution out there? It's thinking about things we're not thinking before, on how everything that we do is actually affecting the world and others. And this is something that it's in our tradition, most traditions. I think the Talmud says that, if you eat and you don't bless, you are stealing from the world. Because if you eat mindlessly and you don't realize that by the sole act of eating, you are affecting the world. Even if you need to eat because you're a recipient for consciousness, like in a good, but you have to be mindful about that. And I think this pandemic infused that a little dose, at least a little, depending on the person, of being more mindful, that I think pushes people in that direction. How do we will go from there? I would go back to Abraham. Like, Abraham has many stations in his story, so he doesn't know. He goes to Canaan, then he goes to exile in Egypt, then he has problems with Lot. Like, in every station, there will be a challenge, a test. But the key is to pass that test consciously. And that's what I think will ultimately make us forget about separateness and feel this ideal that Dr. Laitman is talking about. And I think it's what will really make us happy. Separatedness doesn't make us happy, because everything we exclude comes back to us. It's a bit what I said at the beginning, and it angers us, and we're not sure why it angers us.
So this is, okay, so I guess this is something that if you feel yourself Jewish out there, then that's what you have to roll your sleeves and start doing. Basically help bring everyone to that sense of that conscious connection.